to our next episode of Chameleon Cuts. I'm Madi, aka Queen Chameleon. This is episode 6, and today we have a real treat for you. I've got an amazing, dazzling chameleon on deck for us. He is an award-winning artist, DJ, storyteller, songwriter, rapper, singer, father, and all-around amazing person. We're going to share a lot of his information with you about his story, his background, and how he did it, and how you can too. So please welcome, without further ado, CHU the producer. Woo!
Thank you.
Josh did that on my last episode too. On episode 4.
How could you not?
How could you not? I love it. And your full name is Chumanuobozi, right? Which I love.
Right. You pronounce it quite
very
well,
beautiful.
Too.
Yes, thank you very much. You know me, chameleoning. I take pride in respecting languages and all of that and culture. So I love it. Beautiful name. And we are tuning into you today from Alberta, Canada, which I have marked on the backdrop to show everybody. Do you like my setup? I've got my chameleon, I've got my Valentine's Day flowers still here, and the world map because we're worldwide, right? Mondiale, global.
I love it.
I love it. So thank you so much for coming on my show. And, you know, I've been wanting to have you on my show. I'm really happy to have you here, that I got you at last minute. I kind of put you on the spot today and was like, I would love to do an interview with you. And he's here. So thank you so much for being here. And welcome. So guys, today the topics we're going to talk about, we're going to go over the courage to pursue music and CHU's journey and how he did it. We're going to talk about how you crafted your unique sound because it's so special. And I really, really am curious to know about your inspirations behind that. We're going to talk about songwriting, collaboration, music production, how you do it, your favorite tools. And I want to know how you entered the sync industry and how you've learned to grow there as well. And of course, I think we should talk a little bit about LOTUS and the making behind that, because people ask a lot about that. It's kind of a hot topic for me. I don't know, for you also. Cool. And then I definitely want to touch on mental health and awareness and staying positive in the industry, because it's something I talk about in all my episodes. And I would love to talk about your journey with that. And then we're going to do some fun trivia, because I always love to add that. Yes, you're going to like it. I've got some special questions like just for you that I made with you in mind. They're awesome. And then we're going to talk about what's in the future for CHU. Does that sound good?
Sounds perfect. Let's do it.
Okay, great. So a quick intro that I just wanted to read that I saw on your website that I thought was beautifully written. So check this out, you guys. CHU is a prolific hip hop storyteller, songwriter, and producer. He's known for his infectious hooks and engaging lyrics. As an artist, CHU's style is best described as melodic and relaxed with a hint of yesteryear. As a producer, he is a chameleon of sorts. I love that. Did you play that? Love it. Confirmations all around. Maneuvering in and out of genres seamlessly. When he's not producing, writing, or performing, CHU can be found honing his skills as a DJ and loves to share his love of music whenever possible. I love that.
Thank you.
Yes. So tell us all about yourself. And first and foremost, let's talk about where you're from and a little bit about your journey and backstory.
Yeah, so I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. My heritage is Nigerian, but I was born and raised in Canada. I've been into music as creative anyways since like middle school, really.
Wow.
I started, my brother and I, we started doing it together, my blood brother and I. Yeah.
Wow.
And we used to perform at little parties and house parties and all that kind of stuff.
Is he older or younger?
He's a year and a half older than me.
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah.
super cool.
It was so cool. It was so cute back then. Because this was back before we knew anything about producing, right? So we'd go and perform at parties doing the beatbox, and I'd beatbox and he'd rap, and then we'd switch it up. And
yes.
Yeah, it was just a great time.
Love it.
And then we progressed as we got into high school. We progressed into production, and then together we formed a group called Quick Trouble, which was it was kind of like a hybrid R&B hip hop group, like Belle Biv DeVoe back in the days.
Love it. That girl is poison. Yeah. For those you don't know. Listen, I just need to tell you also, I don't know if you know that I DJ too.
I do
So
know that.
I didn't know that you DJ. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so cool that you, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. So you and your brother, you started delving into music. And from there, did you get into different school extracurricular activities and start performing a little bit live?
Yeah, we were performing live at pep rallies and parties, and then it started getting into concerts and such. And I was also very big into basketball. Like I was the star basketball player at my high school.
Wow.
And I was faced with a decision because I very much liked both things. So I kind of had to decide late in high school which way I was going to go, if I was going to pursue basketball or if I was going to pursue music. And I actually chose basketball, and I left the group.
I saw on your website that you said that, you were kind of forced into the decision. Can you talk about that? What made you feel obligated to go down that path instead of pursuing music? What was what you also loved in your heart?
I loved them both, but like basketball was just in me, like it was one of those things where, I knew that I could always come back to music, but you can't always come back to basketball, if that makes sense. Right. Because once you pass your prime in basketball, it's a wrap. So you're done. But music, you can get seasoned as time goes on.
Cool.
Yeah.
That seems to make a lot of sense to me, because it's like a dancer, your shelf life is, exactly. When you're younger and you're ripe and everything, and your body can take all that. So for sure. So, and you stayed in, so you, was it 10 or 20 years that you pursued, because you began coaching for college ball, right?
Yeah.
So how long was this?
It was close to 20 years of break from music. Wow. So, which dates me a little bit. Well, I think these gray hairs date me, so I don't need
little salt and pepper foxiness over there. Don't worry about it. No, it's all good. It's all cool. George Clooney. It's all good. Very cool. So, I mean, during that time, you didn't go back to music at all. Were you playing at home a little bit? Were you?
Not at all.
You're really kind of cold turkey. Like, I'm going to focus on this now. And
cold turkey. And it, there was a short stretch for the first year or two after I left the group, because then I formed another group with my friends from high school. Okay. And we started kind of doing the same thing, but that was more casual, whereas the other group was very serious about it, to the point where the group members all moved to Vancouver and then eventually to LA and New York, and two of them signed to Babyface as publishers and songwriters. One of them's an actor, and like they took the craft very seriously.
Wow.
Yeah, so part of me regrets that decision, but part of me doesn't.
It's like, I feel like in life we can't look at things as regrets, and I don't know if
totally.
I mean, it's just about experiencing things, and you make decisions in the moment, and everything happens because it's meant to happen. We're all meant to have experiences, and in this business especially, I mean, in life in general, it's just like we make our choices and we do our best, and gotta just keep going, moving forward. So no regrets.
Totally.
I definitely
also, had I not made that decision, I wouldn't have met my wife, because I met her as a result of when I was coaching basketball, and I met her at one of the schools when I was coaching. So
oh my gosh, you see, that's something. See, that's how you know. That's amazing.
That's our thing.
That's our thing right there. Oh Lord, Lordy Lord. Oh my God. Seriously though, because I mean, love is so important. It matters so much in all of this. I mean, as creators, like we do this because we love it. So it's like,
yep.
Yep. Awesome. So, okay. Then around 2016, you started birthing your LP, the Open Book Experience, in a diary style kind of confessional, where you were talking about your insecurities and like the anxiety and just, here it's quoted: an explosion of suppressed emotions, fears, and anxieties wrapped into a story riddled with pain, despair, and eventually triumphs. I think it's important to be open and talk about all of the stigmas that get pinched with along with us when we're artists and pursuing this kind of path. And you know how you get a lot of people giving you back blow and telling you like, don't pursue this and all these reasons why you shouldn't do stuff. And then sometimes you get almost coerced into making a decision that you don't really want to. Not that you did, because clearly you made a conscious choice and you know, and that made sense for you. And that's great, you know, and you came back to it years later, which is totally awesome. So can you talk a little bit about what you went through and why, and what it was like to go through that internally for you?
During the making of the first LP, the open book experience.
Yeah, what the topics you
Or
were writing about, and just like and just
okay, yeah.
and even throughout the years of college, and like those years where you were doing college ball, and in the back of your mind having to kind of, you know, like knowing that you wanted to do music but having to kind of suppress that, like if you're comfortable talking about the emotions going through that.
The weird part is during all the basketball, like I was so immersed in it that I'd never even thought about music. Like I legitimately never thought about it. Like it was gone. Like it wasn't even a part of my life. And the weird thing is the way that it came back was I was on my Mac computer, product shot here. I was on my Mac and tinkering one day, and then I discovered GarageBand, and I was like, "What is this?" And I opened it up, and I was like, "Oh, sick!" So I started tinkering with it, and it was the first time that I'd produced anything in like 15 years at that point in time. So I started tinkering with it, and then I turned it into a song that I secretly made as an anniversary song for my wife. And I went to a studio and recorded it, and she didn't know any of this until and then I shot a little video of it, and then I played her the video on our anniversary date, and that's how she heard it. So that's how I got back into music, is from discovering GarageBand on my computer and tinkering with it and just being like, oh, and then the itch was back. And then it was like, it was almost like I'd never left. It was crazy.
You opened up a whole can of worms.
Yeah. But to answer your question about all the emotions, is so weird, because I didn't know that those emotions and those feelings and anxieties were in me until I started writing. And I had no intention of doing an EP. I just sat down and I was like, let me just write some stuff now that
that gives me goosebumps, because like it makes so much sense, because listening to your songs in that EP, they all sound so organic and true and raw to like nothing sounds like it was like forced or manipulated.
No.
Gosh, and that's when you can really produce, you know, guys, for aspiring artists out there that get writer's block, you know, if you're ever having trouble writing, just stay honest and true to how you feel, because I could definitely feel that honesty through your album here.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I was honestly surprised how I don't want to say dark, because the music in the album is actually quite like fun and light, but the contrast is like what I'm talking about is quite dark, like suicide prevention, anxiety, bullying, all that kind of stuff. That's just what poured out of me. And it was kind of like writing in free verse, where for those who don't know what free verse is, you just put your pen down and you don't think. The only rule is that you're not allowed to stop writing. So you just keep writing, and then at the end, after 3 or 4 minutes, you stop and you go and read what you did. It's quite an exercise. I highly recommend it for anybody. And then when you read what you wrote, it's insane. And that's what writing that first album was like.
Songwriting 101. I love it. Wow. Free verse writing. Yeah. Talk about having to put your guard down and just let the pen and the paper take the wheel on that. So going back to what you talked about, you know, mental health and suicide prevention, huge congratulations to you on the award that you won in 2017 for Crystal Ball, which was, you know, this was a release in the spirit of sending awareness for people who deal with suicide and cope with all of that. And this award was given to you by the Edmonton Canadian Mental Health Association. I was just blown away by this. I watched the video put together by, is his name Blake Lotes?
Yes,
who the photographer was?
Yeah.
Her name, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about moving imagery and like just the way that your voice sounds on it too. It's so transcendental. And I just have to say that, you know, the sound of your music, and it's interesting you bring up Babyface, because I can hear a lot of those influences. You've got a very futuristic new age sound. I think it's progressive and mystical, but it also definitely, I think, shows your original underlying raw hip hop roots. Like I can feel that. Yeah, I think it's amazing. And then, you know, songs that you have, like I Want to Be Free, and I love that, the inspirational feel that I get from that song. And then the reggae feel of Vacation. I mean, listen, you're definitely one of my favorite artists, hands down. And
thank you.
yes, and I gotta tell you, when I met you and asked you to collaborate with me on something, I hadn't even looked at your stuff yet. I just inherently felt this vibe from you just from the Sync Cafe meetings. And I was like, this guy is so cool. I know he's not messing around, and he just is just oozing goodness and intellect. So that definitely drew me to you. And then we had our Zoom meeting, and I was not disappointed at all. I was merely blown away by your music.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great. So can you talk a little bit about Crystal Ball, the song, and how the video came about and what it means to you?
So it was the first single that I released from the first album. By the way, if anyone's looking for this album, it was under my old name. I don't go by that name anymore. So it was the original CHU is the name that I went by when I released that first album, but I don't use that name anymore. But that's where you'll find it. So I released Crystal Ball. It's my first single. It won the People's Choice Award at the EMAs, which was crazy. And the Mental Health Week was coming up, and I was like, you know what, I got to do something with this song. And it wasn't even about like promotion or whatever. It was like, people need to hear this song. And this was before Logic came out with the song with Alessia Cara, 1-800, I don't remember the numbers, but the title of the song is the suicide hotline, the 1-800 number.
Oh wow. Okay.
So this was before that. It was before there was a song about this. So I was like, man, people just need to hear this song. I don't know who needs to hear it, but people need to hear it. So I contacted the Canadian Mental Health Association and said, look, I've got this song. I'm not asking for money for it. I just want you to use it however you can to spread the word. And they said, this is awesome. So they teamed me up with Blake Lotes. They put 4 or 5 of us together, the photographer, the videographer, myself, the poet who does a bit at the beginning. They teamed us all together, and they put it together and used the music. And I was just like, oh, thank you so much. Like, hopefully this helps.
Wow. You guys have to check the song out. I saw it on your website and was able to watch that video on YouTube, and I'll be sure to post links of all your stuff below in this video so people can check it out. I mean,
thank you.
It was so incredibly moving. I'm getting teary-eyed right now just thinking about it. Like it's moving because this is true artistry in its purest form. You know, you were just trying to deliver a message and communicate with somebody, with many somebodies, to help them, you know, with whatever obstacles they're going through and facing. Because you've been there in a sense in many other ways too. You know, you've gone through your own struggles with all of this. So right. I think that's amazing. Yeah. That's really wonderful. Huge congrats on that. It's
kind of cosmic that we're doing this interview on. I don't know if this is the same in the States, but it's Pink Shirt Day today in Canada.
What?
Which is why I'm wearing this, and it's an anti-bullying thing.
Hey, you didn't tell me it's an anti-bullying thing.
Yeah. So across all schools, they encourage the kids to wear pink shirts, and then they talk about bullying all week, and so that's why I'm wearing the shirt. And it's just kind of the universe made this interview happen today. That's weird.
I love it. You see, you can't make these things up. No. Wow, that's unbelievable. So I want to talk about your sound too, because I want you to tell us what your inspirations or who your musical inspirations have been and how that's gone into play with you crafting your sound, because it is very, like, if somebody asked me what genre you were, it's like there's hints of pop in your music. You're a chameleon. You combine all of it. So it's like you're more progressive and alternative, maybe even like an indie alternative style. I love it. It's got hip hop roots, R&B influences. Are there any particular things, like when you're going into production, you like to use a lot of synths, you'd like to make it sound very warm and inviting? And can you talk a little bit about CHU as a producer, what mode you go into, and what are certain tones you look for, or vibes, and who your inspirations are in the music industry?
I love to use a lot of atmosphere sounds. That's a big thing for me. Excuse me. I'm also big on I'm big on a warm feeling. I'm glad that you touched on that. Like it's just I just go naturally.
We feel it. We can feel it.
Totally. I just go naturally where I'm feeling like. So I'll usually start a track with either some kind of guitar riff or some kind of piano, and until I've got the right vibe. And then once I've got the right vibe, then I can build everything around it. Like, and the vibe comes usually from the piano or the guitar. And the dope thing now is that I've teamed up with a guitar player locally here who's just we're just right on the same page. So because I don't play well enough to do any of the guitar licks myself, I can send him something. I can send him a temp sample and say, this is the vibe I want to recapture. And he'll just play a bunch of stuff in the same key, send me a bunch of stuff, and then I'll be like, yep, you nailed it again. So yeah, we've become a great team that way. As far as influences, I'm all over the place. Babyface obviously is one of them. Teddy Riley, Timbaland, Dre. On the songwriting side as well, like, well, Babyface is obviously a songwriter. Sure. On the songwriting side as well, Brian McKnight, the Garth Brooks.
Love.
I love the music. I love music songs that have deeper meaning when I have the opportunity to write those kind of songs, like Lotus, but the writing was you. But but I love deeper songs like that. That's why I love Garth Brooks, like songs like The River and The Dance. Like you can't beat that to me.
Yeah, you're a storyteller. I think, you're a chameleon of many talents. Just, that's something that I think I would argue separates you from maybe some other artists that kind of do more commercial driven stuff. I mean, you're one of those artists that really takes their heart out of their chest and leaves it on the record. So I think that's as real as they can get. And I don't know if artists get enough acknowledgement for the bravery, and it's really sort of it's an exposing of ourselves, for you. You're, you know what I mean? And being a man also, I don't know how it's in Canada, but in America, there's been this big stigma that men shouldn't express emotions and shouldn't like leave their hearts on their sleeve and on the page. But then it's like, you have a lot of men growing up in America feeling like they can't express themselves. And then there's all these social issues coming up, and I'm kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent, but what I mean to say is that, like, it's okay. I think it's amazing when men express their emotions so openly and purely and leave them there. And I think it's brave, and I think it's brilliant, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. You should always express how you feel, like, and you're delivering it in this totally innovative and unique way with your warm sound, as you call it. You can feel it. I'm telling you. That's why I didn't need to wear a sweater today. I was like, this is CHU. I feel warm and fuzzy already. Let's go.
Go. Mission accomplished.
Yes. You set the how do you call it? Like set the initiative. Yeah. I mean, you're a warm and fuzzy person. You're just like a big teddy bear.
Oh, thanks.
Yes. So let's talk about Lotus now, because you gave a lot of big, warm teddy bear love to that track. And before it was even called Lotus, and before that even happened, talk about how you made that track. And
yeah. It's an interesting story. That track is not. It came about in an unconventional way. It's not usually how things work for me. So I participated in a remix challenge. Can I say the song?
Yeah.
Okay. So I participated in a remix challenge for Alicia Keys' song Time Machine, where the stems were given to me. So I have all her vocals as individual stems, and I have all the instruments that they use as individual stems. So I just imported only her vocals, and then I created a full instrumental around it. And I really, really, really liked it. I didn't win the contest, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for us, I didn't win the contest, which means I once I mute her vocals, I've got this brand new, fully completed instrumental that I really, really liked. And as I told you when you reached out to me, I said I've been holding on to this one for the right moment. And when you came along, I was like, this is the right moment. I hadn't played it for anybody until you and I started working together, and I was like, this is the right artist for this instrumental.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I'm so honored. Thank you so much. I mean, the track was just man, they say when music can speak to you without there being any lyrical content on it, that's super powerful to me. And it told so much of a story to me already. And I know it's open to interpretation. Every artist or person would feel different things when they listen to a piece of music. Yours was so, I hadn't heard anything like it in a while. I'll be honest with you. I get songs from producers all the time, and there was something really special about it. I mean, that's all I can really say. And then you had come up with the concept of, because we were talking about flowers,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I forget how Lotus came up. Did I come up with
you came
Lotus?
up with Lotus? Yeah,
I
Lotus
did come
was
up
your
with
idea.
Lotus.
Yeah.
So okay, because I remember I had been researching flowers for another previous project I had just been doing, where somebody wanted to use a dahlia. Mm-hmm. It was for like a Spanish song that I was doing. So I had been recently looking up flowers that week, and then I was looking up the symbolism of a lotus, and I was like, a lotus, a rare flower that emerges from the murkiest, dark, deep waters and comes up as something beautiful, mm-hmm. even though it's been through all of this treachery and dirt and strenuous things holding it down. It still comes back up. And the symbolism behind that was very visceral to me, especially with the pandemic going on and dealing with my own struggles and the fluctuations in this industry and staying grounded and mentally stable during all of that. It'll get anybody on a good day. It gets Katy Perry on a good day. Like, it's like, mm-hmm. This is a thing that everybody goes through. So yeah, that song 100%. Was, like we talked together about the concept, and like, you kind of let me take the reins on like the verses, and then you came in and wrote that really super cool, I guess we call it like a pre-bridge or a bridge section. Mm-hmm. And like I was so happy that you allowed me to express myself in that way, because I don't really typically write super sentimental songs. Mm-hmm. Like, if you ask me if I want to watch a drama movie or a sci-fi movie, I'd go with the sci-fi. I kind of just like adventure a lot more, mm-hmm. you know? And it's not because I don't have a dramatic side to myself. I do, but it was a different thing for me to do, a different way for me to write. It was so honest, like, mm-hmm. you know, so like, again, talking about, you know, getting naked when making a song, and like, it's a kind of a brave thing to do, because that was mm-hmm. something kind of hard to talk about on the track. But people were like, who is that producer on that track? Like, it's amazing. Like, it's so good. I love it. It really inspired me. I have a whole crew of Zumba dancers from home in New mm-hmm. York and from like also in California, who use the song in their classes for cool downs, and like they love it. It's very healing. And friends in Italy and Sweden that love the song. So nice. I'm really happy that we got to make that song together. How did you feel about the end product of it, where it went? You
totally smashed it. You knocked it out of the park. Wow. And I was just, I was blown away by, like, it's one of those things that if you're not a songwriter or producer, you might not fully appreciate the layers of the song as much. Like, so if you've heard the song before and you go back now and listen to it again, just try to peel back the layers, not only just the lyrics and what she's talking about, but also the harmonies. My goodness, like there's a million harmonies. They're all over the place. Like it's insane. It's really insane. Like that actually might be one thing. Just release an a cappella version of that song, because that song as an a cappella, that song as an a cappella is stupid.
Wow,
It
cool.
really is. Like take me out of it. Take my fumbling fingers.
Well, honestly,
out of it.
Your instrumental was so good that I was like, what am I going to sing over this? It sounds so good already. It doesn't need a singer. Like, that's literally what I thought when I heard this. I was like, what am I going to do on this? What am I going to do on this? Seriously, I really had to sit. I was taken aback by how, I don't want to use the word how composed it was, because obviously you compose it, but like by how orchestrated it was. Like everything was so, there was a chronology to it. It really had a beginning, a middle, and an end, the way it moved. And I was like, oh my God, I want to do so much justice to this song. And then thankfully the concept came out organically. So I'm just really happy that you were happy with it. And yeah, I could feel your underlying hip hop influence in that track. And that's where some of my harmonies came from. And when I hit the chorus in kind of like a hip hop style, that was you inspiring me, because the drums change up there. And that was your hip hop inspiration. So,
you know what I just realized?
What?
I just realized I'd never pid you the original.
Oh my gosh, you haven't. Yeah, you have, because I asked you not to, because I didn't want it. I didn't want it to distract me from like going with a clear vision ahead, because
my goal was always to play it for you after we were done, so you could hear it. And I just forgot to.
You have to send it to me.
I'm gonna have to send that to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, we should listen to it in a video together so you can see my reaction.
Okay.
Because I'm probably going to be blown away, and like it's probably going to be like, oh wow, it's so weird to hear a song with somebody else and after you've done something on it. Like it's wild stuff.
It's going to trip you out.
Oh wow. All right, let's do that for sure. Okay, and then Christmas Reimagined, your amazing album from 2020. Wow, you collaborated with so many brilliant talents on that album,
including you.
Thank you kindly. Yeah, we did a cool rendition of "O Come All Ye Faithful." You made a contemporary, warm and fun mid-tempo style version of it. And then I kind of sang some of the Latin verses, from the original lyrics, and just tried to make it modern and pop and have fun with it, put some more harmonic stuff in there. And I'm just glad that you embrace all of my harmonic stuff that I do and create. I love to use my voice as an instrument, so I'm glad that you encourage that. That's fun for me as a vocalist, to get to like almost be a part of the instrumental crew in a way. Makes me feel like I'm really contributing and I'm not just being a singer on the track. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Encouraging that, for sure. So that was an amazing album. You guys should definitely check that out. And by the way, CHU is chameleoning on all music platforms. Okay, he's available on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Deezer, Amazon Music, iTunes, everything. So Pandora, so be sure to check him out. Okay, so CHU, what was the conversion and reason why you went from the original CHU to CHU the Producer? So let's talk about CHU the Producer versus the original CHU.
Yeah, I was actually doing both for a long time, and I just recently started putting an end to the original CHU. So the reason is the original CHU started out, well, that's all I was. I was the original CHU, and it was my hip hop persona. So even though I produced the majority of the stuff that I did as the original CHU, I was never planning to pursue producing as a career. I was just going to be an artist and produce my own stuff. It was just handy that I was able to produce my own stuff.
Wow.
But then once I started making the decision that I wanted to start producing for other people, and I was aware that I could produce in different genres, and that I'd be creating like for example, I have a country song that I did. It's not released yet. I'm not singing on it, but at the time I felt it would be confusing if people that know me as the original CHU and that are following me as a hip hop artist, all of a sudden now I'm putting out a pop record or a country record or EDM record. So I created CHU the Producer, which is the chameleon.
Love it. That's your alias.
That's my alias, Chameleon. but it got to the
Love
point
it.
I did that for about 2 years, and at this point now I'm not releasing anything as the original CHU. So I was like, you know what, it's time to shut the original CHU down. So I actually just started
Okay.
about a week ago. I posted my first thing on the original CHU in forever, which is basically me saying I'm shutting her down. Come follow me at CHU the Producer. So
Yeah, I mean, I hear that, and I think like artists go through metamorphoses,
yeah,
right, in
totally.
different stages, and you have that time in your life where you were that, and then
Mhm.
yeah, I get that. I was like Madi D, which was more urban and like
Mhm.
super, super electro pop stuff and whatever the heck else I wanted to do. And then now under Queen Chameleon, I wanted to be able to do my Viking style stuff and my epic cinematic stuff. So it's like needed to make a new alias for that. And I get that. So guys, find your path, and it's okay to change it up. Just make sure you post on those, like choosing and say, hey guys, nothing's going down here anymore. Come follow me over here now. So you push your momentum into the proper outlets.
Right.
Yeah, that's a thing. You don't want to confuse your audience.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like
That that's the other
style
thing.
managers.
It's confusing people, like having the two
Confusing.
aliases. Yeah. Like I also have there's friends of mine who are in the industry and are very versed on Spotify and all that kind of stuff, who are
Right.
like, "Oh, I heard you just released a single. I can't find it," just because my stuff was so confusing. So I'm like, I'm just trying to also streamline it for that reason as well. Just be like, no, there's only one place to look for it now,
Right.
unless
Right.
you want the back catalog stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And so, okay, so we talked about songwriting, we talked a little bit about your production. You like to add those warm elements, guitar, synthy stuff. Super cool. Can we talk now about how you got introduced to the world of sync and what is sync for those who don't know, and your journey on it right now and
Mm-hmm.
how it's going for you?
So sync is it's short for synchronization, and it's basically any time that music is synchronized with picture. So, for example, if you're when you're watching a movie and you hear music, either it's in the background or in the foreground, just as long as there's music, that's considered a sync. Um, how I got into it was actually the same place I met you. So I don't know, maybe that was 2 or 3 Decembers ago. I can't. Time is. I don't know what time is anymore.
Wow, very cool. Yeah, me
But
neither. So how'd you find out about Sync Cafe?
a friend of mine who's a manager had gone to the summit a few
Mm,
years ago, and he was planning to go, and he told me about it. He's like, yeah, sync is the future, man. And I was like, he explained to me what it was, and I was like, yeah, let's do this. So I signed up for the sync summit in Los Angeles, booked my ticket to go. Him and I were gonna
wow.
meet there. I'm at the airport. I call him. I'm like, yeah, I'm just about to get on my plane. He's like, oh yeah, I'm not feeling good. I'm not coming down. I'm not coming anymore. I'm like, dude, I booked this whole trip to meet up with you there because we live in different places. He lives on the East Coast Canada. I'm more West Coast.
Okay.
So I ended up going to the Sync Summit because of him, but he wasn't there. But that changed my world. So I'm glad that it all happened. I wish he would have been there. It would have been cool for us to hang out because we're good friends and we don't see each other much. But I went there. I met Mark at the Sync Summit.
Mark
Became a
Fraser.
Mark Freezer. Became a part of his community, and then started meeting more like-minded people like yourself.
Mm,
Started expanding. That changed the community, and I'm sure it's the same for you. Just it made COVID less COVID, if that makes any sense. Like,
totally.
because before I was used, like, I have a home studio here, so I was used to having people come to my place and write and record, but that was limited to the people in my vicinity.
Mm,
But now, once I became a part of that community, I can collaborate with people like you, and people all over the world, and I'm collaborating with you in LA, and collaborating with people in Nashville, Israel, Florida, like all over the place, and all a result of having gone to that conference and everything that's kind of stemmed and spider webbed out of that conference. So
That's amazing. Yeah. And, you know, shout out to Mark Freezer and the Sync Summit and Sync Cafe and everybody there. It's a
Yep.
great resource that, you know, we learn from in terms of contracts, in terms of briefs, in terms of metadata, in terms of the language you need to speak and understand to be submitting music in these different outlets. And I'm very new at it still, even though I've been learning for a little bit over a year. It's still, you know, I always consider myself a student of this industry, and I love that I can contact Chu. He's been studying it for a little bit longer, and he helps to give me some insights too. So it's super valuable. I love our relationship, and I just still feel so fangirled by you and lucky that I have to work with you. I really do. I really do.
Stop.
Like our relationship reminds me of being in middle school or high school, and like you had your friends who were musically inclined and they were like pianists or like real musicians, and you would just sit down and like freestyle with them. Making music with you feels like that to me. Like I feel like we can sit down and jam. Like you're one of those musicians that it's very easy to yeah, and it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So
side note, I have no training in any instrument.
I was going to ask you, so first, because your voice also sounds trained, like have you trained in music at all?
Wow. Now you're lying. Now you're just lying to the people.
No, oh my God. I mean, gifted. There's no other way to describe it other than you're gifted. You know, it's a God-given talent. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I just had a conversation with another friend who's a singer, and I asked her if there was any advice that she could give young people, you know, who are afraid to pursue their talents, what she would say. And she just said, you know, if God gives you a gift, if it's something that you're born with that you naturally like do well and really enjoy, then that's what you're supposed to pursue. And I was like, wow, light bulb just went off. I was like, that's so simple and sure, but true. There's so much truth to that. It's like we make things complicated because society tells us, you know, what we need to do or be to deem us successful. And I think there's a lot to be said about pursuing your loves, things that you just are drawn to and attracted to and naturally good at. I think that it's possible. Anybody can do it. Awesome. So I want to ask you also about Sound Sugar Radio and the weekend warm up you were doing and DJing. You know, I see back there in the background. Is that a Pioneer or a Newmark SSB? What you got there?
It's a Pioneer, yeah.
Hey,
there you go.
Is that a 2-track?
You know your consoles.
I love.
I don't even know what it's called.
It's a 2-track. It's a little handy dandy. Love it.
I just know how to use it. That's all.
DJing is so fun, isn't it?
Oh, isn't it? It's the best.
What do you love about it?
I just love sharing music. Really.
You're probably a dope DJ. We need to have like a DJ like back and forth one day.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, because the way that you make music, I can already imagine the types of tracks you'd be blending together. And then me, I think you'd be very surprised. Like, obviously, since I love to harmonize, like that's what really helped me as a DJ. But I think you'd be surprised at all of the, like, when I DJ, I just love to play dance hall and like hip hop and Latin music and reggaeton and
that doesn't surprise me.
That doesn't surprise you? All right. Good. I'm glad.
Here's why it doesn't surprise me. Because we've done the one track that's EDM popish, I guess. Lotus. Yeah. I don't know what you call it. I'm bad with genres.
Yeah. Alternative pop. I don't know. Yeah. Inspirational pop.
And then we did that version of the Christmas song. Similar kind of thing. Yeah. And one thing that people don't know is that we're working on something that's more kind of reggaeton. What would you call that?
That's right. You know, like dance hall-y, contemporary, urban pop.
So in my 3-song experience with you, you just kind of wrapped up everything you were talking about DJing. So I'm not surprised.
I love it. That's awesome. Yay! This is why you're awesome. You're just great at reading vibes and all that. I love it. It's so great to work with somebody that understands you. It helps so much. And I want to ask you quickly too, like, what are some of your favorite tools in the studio? Do you work on Pro Tools or Logic?
I'm a Logic guy. So
you're a Logic guy.
Yeah, okay. Logic Pro 10, I think it is.
Very cool. And what kind of interface do you use? Stumping you?
Yeah.
Give or take, do you know how much you spent on it? I would like to give our audience like kind of an idea of what they should be spending on some basic gear to get themselves started. You
Oh,
know, I usually
oh, I see
recommend
what you're saying.
Scarlet Box. That's like $50, 50 to 100, depending on how many
I don't
inputs.
I don't use that much. So mine is the Steinberg UR22, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not expensive. You don't need
Okay.
you really do not need much to produce music. You really don't. You need a DAW, a digital audio workstation. So in my case, it's Logic. You could use Pro Tools, Ableton, whatever.
Yeah.
You need an interface, like she mentioned, $50, whatever. You're probably going to need a MIDI keyboard. They're going to be $50 to $100.
Any brands you like for MIDI keyboards?
It doesn't like, again, I'm so like, it's the means to the end. Like the MIDI keyboard is it's just interpreting the sound. So to me, it doesn't matter. I can use any keyboard. Like it really, like I'm not a production snob where I have where I have all these, like I gotta have the high end this or the or this plugin or that plugin.
Well, do you have any like any sample pack favorites or any sound favorites that
I use Splice.
Okay.
I use Splice,
cool.
but I'm trying to transition away from it for the sake of sync. So
it's all royalty free though, isn't it?
It is, but it's been an ongoing debate in every sync room. Don't get me started.
Right, you know, I know, and it's funny because that's yeah, I know Michelle Weiss brought that up that one time talking about my vocal samples, but my only argument was that my stuff was exclusive to sounds.com. So yeah, multiple people can have my stuff, but you manipulate it in your own way.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm transitioning away from, so for example, like when I talked earlier about using loops, using sounds to start my vibe, I'll still grab a guitar sample or a piano sample or whatever from Splice to create my sound. And then I'll send the guitar sample to Alex, my guitar
guy, yeah,
and say, okay, this is the vibe, and he's already got the rest of the instrumental around it, and he just mutes the guitar and puts his own twist on it, and it's like, sweet. There we go.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
So yeah, if you want to produce, get the gear. It's not that expensive. You can get started with $500 or less, really. But the thing that's most important is you have to have an ear for it and a passion for it. Like, I don't know if you can be taught the ear. I don't know. But anything else you can be taught. You really can. But if you hear music and you're like, oh, that would sound good with this, like the way a DJ would hear music, then you can get dip your toe in the production waters, and everything else can be learned. It can. It's a course away. It's a YouTube video away. It's a phone call to me away.
I love that. Yes, guys. And I will give you CHU's info so you can reach out to him for any questions and stuff. He wants to help you. We're here to help you. And part of Chameleon Cuts is allowing you to have a free platform of information that you can pull from to learn and educate yourself and encourage yourself to learn and keep learning and discovering and experimenting and researching. That's what this is all about. And we're here to support each other in this unique community of the entertainment industry. So
actually, as you mentioned, that's one thing that I've started doing. I've started consulting with younger producers. And by younger, I don't mean age, in their journey. People that are just getting started and kind of helping them through the process and answering questions about not just the production side, like the conversations you and I have. We're a family, so that's consulting. but I do consulting with those kind of things too.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's really cool. So do you see yourself maybe one day having your own kind of label? And would you ever sign artists under like a label or something? I'm kind of just
100%.
All right. I was onto something.
At some point in time, I don't know if it'll be a label, but I'm thinking more maybe a sync agency.
Wow.
But something like that will definitely happen at some point in time. I don't see it in the near future. Like, it's more of a 5-year plan kind of thing. Once I build more contacts, I'm starting to build a lot of contacts now, but I need to build more contacts and be a bit more visible out there before I pull the trigger on that.
Okay, for sure. That's awesome. That's very good stuff to look forward to. So I'll be
Mm-hmm.
looking out for that. Love it. Okay, so I want to ask you now some fun trivia questions, okay?
Woo, let's do it.
And yeah, so I'm just gonna give you some fast ones, and a lot of these things are things that we've already talked about, which is great. So you're already warmed up. Okay,
Okay.
so you're gonna choose one or the other when I mention these things to you. So first up, we've got Danny Elfman or John Williams.
John Williams.
All right, Boys to Men or Brian McKnight.
I hate you. Voice to Men.
Hey!
Even though Brian McKnight wrote some stuff for them.
Brian's your boy. I know. But you know those harmonies on Boys to Men. Oh,
You can't beat that.
Love it. How about classical or folk music?
Folk.
All right. Great. And fantasy or drama movies?
Probably drama.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Whitney or Mariah?
Whitney.
This question stresses everybody out so much. I only give it to some people, and everybody's like, "Oh." I gave Barry Michael Jackson and James Brown, and he was very upset about that. So I didn't want to do that to you.
Naturally.
How about PC or
Actually,
Mac?
Michael Jackson, Prince.
Michael James would be a great hybrid of the two. Yeah. But yeah, you were saying Prince.
Michael Jackson and Prince would be more upsetting.
Yeah, I know, because they're
the same era,
similar time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. All right, PC or Mac?
Definitely Mac.
Okay. Any quick reason why?
I've just always been a Mac person as long as they've been out, and everything that I see everything that I've used obviously I've used PC because the world runs predominantly on PC, so I know PC, but everything on Mac is user friendly.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about Mac is the price.
Right.
But
and
everything
updates.
Yeah, but everything integrates so seamlessly. Everything's simple. If it wasn't for Mac, I wouldn't be producing music. There's that too.
GarageBand. Shout out to GarageBand.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I ever used to. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right, cool. How about Pro Tools or Logic?
Logic.
Yeah. And then ice cream or pizza if you had to pick one for the rest of your life.
For the rest of my life?
Yes, you can only eat one thing for the rest of your life, and you're going to be super healthy, eating this one thing for us. It's going to be fine. Everything's going to be great. Don't have to worry about cholesterol or diabetes or heart problem. Nothing. You're going to be fine. You're going to be thriving.
My logical brain is going to answer this one. So I'm like, you can't live on ice cream. I'm like, shut up, brain.
Be completely illogical right now. And
shut up, brain. It's not a logical question.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. Just go with the heart, not the head.
No, but for me, it would be pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah,
I love pizza too. I'm a
here's
pizza gal too.
Weird side story.
Yes.
Side story. I switched to a vegan diet about 3 months ago.
You did.
And we were doing pizza night every Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I just recently decided, we're like, man, we used to be so excited about pizza night before we went vegan because we can't find any vegan pizzas that we like. We're like, these are all disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
So we're like, but our daughter loves pizza night, right? So we're like, pizza night.
Oh my God. Okay.
So now we just decided it's every Friday night. So now we just decided that's our eat out night instead of pizza. We're like, we're not, because we're hating it. Our daughter's loving it. She's like,
I have an idea.
We're like,
I can help you convert your pizza night to a happy night. I have a great vegan recipe for pizza. Are you ready? And this is off of my cooking page, Queen Chameleon Cooks. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I make a vegan crust out of cauliflower or broccoli, and then I use oatmeal. And then you basically can put it all together in a blender, and you can add oatmeal, you can add breadcrumbs, and then you can actually take vegan cheese also. Like the Daiya cheddar shreds are good. Mm-hmm. They're good. The mozzarella ones are kind of funky, those vegan cheeses. And I don't know, they don't taste like cheese, but Daiya cheddar, super good.
Daiya's our favorite.
Daiya's the good one. Yeah. And they're
grilled cheese with Daiya?
Yeah. I know. It's like a lifesaver for sure. So, and then using coconut oil instead of butter, to grease the, the pan, and then if you bake it with the vegan cheese inside, like do the crust first at like 400 degrees for 20 minutes, and then it'll make the crust stick together, and then you can put whatever toppings on you want. We do like sun-dried tomato and onions or whatever, mushrooms, arugula, and like that makes pizza very exciting. I will tag you in one of my pizza recipes on it, and hopefully you can rebirth this whole pizza catastrophe conflict.
It was awful. Was awful.
I hear you. Yeah, was there any reason that you guys decided to go vegan? Was it an environmental choice, personal choice, like
just health choice? Personal health, really. Someone reached out to me about it because I never really considered it, and someone close to me was telling me about it, and I was like, you know what, let me consider this. And I watched a documentary, I can't remember what it's called, on Netflix about it. And originally I was just gonna do it myself. I'm not gonna ask my wife to do it unless she wants to do it.
Right.
So I just told her that this is what I'm doing, like if you want to join me, that's awesome. If not, that's fine too. But she sat down and watched the documentary with me, and then she was like, yeah, no, let's do this together. So
wow.
We're not forcing it on our daughter,
right?
which is why she still likes pizza night, because she has regular pizza.
Well, good luck to you both on your journey, and it's awesome to try new things and see what works best for you. My mom's vegan and she loves it. It works for her a lot. I know some people that it doesn't work for. For me, I tried to go vegetarian and my body was not happy. I need to have meat at least like once a week, just like turkey, like lean meats and seafood, and like my body likes that because I guess I burn a lot of energy. I'm an up-tempo kind of person. So I went to a natural healer also, and she told me like, you need to have your protein, and like you do need a little bit of meat, have turkey or have fish, and like I'm happier. I'm more, it works for me. It's different for everybody. It's so funny how we're all wired so differently. And,
totally.
Yeah.
Well,
so good luck to you on that.
I think why it works for me is because I burn 0 calories throughout my day. Protein, who needs it? My muscles don't need to be rebuilt.
All good. I'm strong mentally. Let's go. Let's get this. Oh, I love it. Well, good luck to you on that. Let me know how that goes. Totally. And yes. And then I wanted to also ask you another important question I want to ask you personally is, what do you do for yourself to stay grounded and keep your mental health, positive and balanced? What do you do to take yourself kind of out of the music for a minute and just like recharge? And what helps you stay balanced in your life?
It's I actually keep myself in the music. That's what does it.
Hey,
really, it's
so the music is your escape. Okay,
totally. Music is my therapy. So a lot of times, especially in the early days, like back with the open book experience, you could tell where I am, what my mind state is by what I just wrote or what I produced. And then once you get it out, then it's like it's out, and it's I mean out of you, not out into the world by releasing it. Once you get it out of you, you feel better. And there's songs that I go back to, and I use as my own personal therapy. So like Crystal Ball, I listen to it when I feel I need to listen to it. There's a song I wrote called, what's it called? She's Your Angel Now. That I wrote literally the day after my mom passed away.
Wow.
I wrote and recorded it the next day. And I listen to it anytime I feel I need to listen to it. It's my personal therapy. I released it in the world just for the similar reason as why I released Crystal Ball. But yeah, I go back and listen to that probably 3 or 4 times a month, and it puts me in the place where I need to be when I feel I need to listen to it. So that's
so inspiring.
That's the short answer is music.
I love
the short answer that I somehow turned into a long answer.
I love it. So you're being super honest about how you feel. That's amazing. So is there anything that you do, any other hobbies that you do aside of music that you like that are outlets?
Yeah, pre and post pandemic basketball.
Yeah.
So I get together with my friends on a weekly basis and play basketball.
Very cool.
Right now during the pandemic, hang out with my family. We watch TV and Netflix.
Yeah.
Superstore is our new Netflix show right now.
Chill. What's it called? Superstore?
Superstore.
Superstore.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
I have not. I've
Oh
been
my
on a
God.
Fresh Prince kick for the past. I'm showing Ozzy all Fresh
Oh,
Prince because he had, hasn't seen a lot of Fresh Prince, and I'm like, what? We need to abduct you and like just sit
you
and
need
watch this nothing else
you need to
forever.
watch Superstore.
Okay, I
That
will.
then this will be even funnier to you. It'll be funnier to you once you watch Superstore.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my
That
gosh,
sample is, I can't, like, oh my
you
God.
need to watch that. That's
Squeeze
why
it in
that's
the
a
middle.
the amount of times you the amount of times you hear that sound out of me, my wife, and my daughter because of the movie, because of the show Superstore, is ridiculous.
Okay. All right.
Because
All
there's a
right. I got you.
character, I don't want to ruin it, but there's a character that does that all the time, and he's like this wannabe rapper. He's not really a rapper. So he'll be like, yeah, wagwan, yeah, select that.
Talking in patois.
He's such a goof. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Oh, I love it. Yes, it reminds me of home. This is a lot of like, yes, I love that. Going out to the clubs. Like I used to sneak out to the clubs when I was 17. We go to the Bronx and stuff. There was a lot of, yeah, I did. I got my pick ID real early. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Listen, I wanted to dance. I'm a dancer at my core, and I was like, listen, I need to go. I need to dance. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't doing any of that stuff. I was dancing. So sure enough, they would throw in that music. And cuando me dice nada, ¿qué pasa que ya no te veo? And that pretty much sums up clubbing in the early 2000s. So in New York. I will definitely check this show out. Oh my God, Chu, it's been amazing interviewing you. Thank you so much for all of your time today. And if you could leave our audience with one note of encouragement, people who are, maybe unsure if they want to start pursuing this industry and they don't quite know what decision to make, what advice could you give young aspiring creators today?
Love what you do. If you don't love it, don't do it. Don't do it for money, because it's a grind, and it's only a grind if you don't love it. Love what you do.
Beautifully put. Beautifully put. All right, guys, that is a wrap for today's episode of Chameleon Cuts. Thank you so much for being here. We hope to see you again soon. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video, and you'll always catch us at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Wednesdays, and also 9:30 p.m. for Eastern Standard Time. Have a good day. Until next time.
Enlightened, miraculous, day and night I practice it. I was never perfect, baby, I'm just passionate. My energy attracted this, that's why they call me